10 at 10.
In an effort to reduce and prevent sexual assaults on college campuses, the state is looking at changing the no means no to a yes means yes. Thanks for joining us tonight. In one of the largest surveys of its kind, nearly 1 in 4 women attending the University of Minnesota and other universities say they were victims of sexual assault.
State representatives are pushing a bill that would require a statewide affirmative consent policy at all universities in Minnesota in an effort to reduce that number. Valley News Team's Krista Bain looks into what this means for colleges like MSUM that has 4 reported sexual assaults this year already.
No means no, a more commonly known phrase when it comes to consensual sex. But a Minnesota state representative wants college campuses to adopt a more positive yes means yes policy to make consent more clear for students who aren't as prepared if they choose to engage in sexual activity.
I'm hearing way too many stories from young people, including my own daughters, that those rules of the road aren't clear.
The affirmative consent policy wouldn't require a signed form from 2 consenting students, but rather laying out what consent means, given by words or actions that can be redrawn at any time.
For a long, long time, the expectation is we don't proceed into sexual activity if someone says no. But if someone has had too much to drink, or they're asleep, or they're inexperienced, sometimes that no is not well expressed.
But some students question whether a bill would do anything to help.
What would be in the bill that can prevent it? Because what I would see, it would have to be a huge cultural change. It would have to be huge.
Murphy says the answer is to make what is now an uncomfortable topic for some more common, which is why she's traveling around the state. MSUM currently has an effective consent policy, one the school says is similar.
I think at the heart there's not a huge difference. It's really about getting consent, having consent, and that it's between the individuals who are having that sexual activity.
A topic that Murphy will continue to push in hopes it stretches far beyond a college campus. Krista Bain, Valley News Live.
The Minnesota bill failed this spring, but Murphy says she will push for it again in the next legislative session.
There could soon be changes to Moorhead's parking ordinance as concerns are being raised over whether or not the process is constitutional. Attorney William Kirshner says after some research, he thinks the Moorhead parking ordinance breaks the 14th Amendment. Right now, Moorhead police issue tickets, and if people want to appeal, the police chief makes that decision. Kirshner says the 14th Amendment gives people the right to a hearing in front of a neutral judge, and the police chief creates a conflict of interest.
Well, because people who wrongfully get parking tickets should have a right to explain why they shouldn't get the tickets to somebody who is neutral. And the city will have to hire a neutral hearing officer who will hear these appeals.
Moorhead City Attorney John Shockley says the city does not agree with these allegations, but the city is working to establish a new parking appeal system. Shockley said he couldn't answer our questions until next Monday, when he'll bring forward a new parking ordinance at the city council meeting.
Look for more police officers to be hired in the metro area thanks to more than $625,000 in federal funds. West Fargo's share is $375,000, which will be used to hire 3 additional police officers. The Fargo department will be getting $250,000. That will pay for an additional 2 officers. The federal funding comes from the Strong and Safe Communities initiative launched by Senator Heidi Heitkamp.
Well, you may have noticed a traffic sign while traveling westbound on the 12th Avenue Bridge in North Fargo, alerting drivers to slow down. Before June, there were nearly 16 accidents along the bridge. Fargo police decided to take action and to put the sign on 12th Avenue, hoping that drivers would take notice. Sergeant Chris Hemlick gives some credit to the decrease in accidents to the sign's placement. The number has since gone down to 6.
It's very similar if it was a construction zone. They use those to alert people that there's going to be some changes in road conditions. It's the same thing. So when people see that, it catches their attention, gets that message across, and again, short term, it lets people know that, hey, we need to be more aware in this area.
Police have noticed that drivers have become used to seeing the sign and say they'll be removing it soon.
Burning natural gas in the Bakken has been a hot topic. The Industrial Commission in the state has created an order aimed at reducing the flares. An oil industry group is requesting a delay. The group says the oil industry needs to rise to the occasion and meet the outlined goals in the Industrial Commission's order. The order, which was put in place last June, requires companies to submit a plan to how to capture natural gas instead of flaring it off before they can drill a well. The Sierra Club, Dakota Resource Council, and Environmental Law and Policy Center released a study claiming hundreds of wells did not have those plans, which violates the gas capture order.
Well, nobody's suggesting a ban on flaring at this point. We just would like them to adhere to the existing policy, which is to capture the gas within 90 days.
The spokesperson for the Department of Mineral Resources says there's incorrect information and says that there was a misunderstanding of how the permitting process works.
Pesky mosquitoes are more than just a nuisance. They can be deadly. The North Dakota Department of Health reports that there has been 12 cases of the West Nile virus so far this year. 23-year-old Dancia Jackson is one of the few people that have developed a serious neurological illness related to West Nile virus. She passed away on August 19th. The family of her met with officials from the Department of Health to share her story. The goal? To raise awareness about how severe this disease can be for people of any age. They urge anyone who is showing symptoms that may be related to West Nile to get tested and remind people to always use mosquito repellent.
Make sure you're wearing like long pants, shirts, long sleeve shirts, and putting the repellent on the outside because if the fabric is thin and tight, mosquitoes can bite through that.
West Nile virus was first detected in North Dakota back in 2002.
The countdown is on for the Pope's arrival on American soil, and while the city preps for the Pope, so are members of Congress. For the first time in history, the Pope will address Congress. As his speech draws closer, some House and Senate Republicans hope his speech stays away from the politics inside the Capitol walls. Senator Rob Portman hopes it offers a renewed perspective for members on both sides of the aisle.
I hope it'll be an opportunity for all of us to take a step back and reflect a little on what's ultimately important in life.
How exactly Pope Francis will frame his speech is still uncertain, but there are members that are hopeful it will be a positive one and one that stays with the members for years to come. By the way, our Washington Bureau will have complete coverage of the Pope's visit all week long, including a live look on Thursday.
Today is the International Day of Peace, and to mark that day, 5 peace poles were dedicated on the grounds of Lutheran Social Services. They're among 17 in our community. The message on the peace poles is in 20 languages, and it's a simple message. May peace prevail on earth.
I served 2 tours of duty in Vietnam, so I know what war is. And I feel that everybody has a right to sleep at night.
The Peace Pole project started in Japan 60 years ago. There are now 200,000 of them in more than 180 countries.